The center of the Earth is a special base controlled by benevolent beings called the Dunaakial, whose original home is in Rizq, which is located in the 19th galaxy called Yaa-Nun. The Dunaakial are hybrids of the Rizkians who made their residence within Shambhala. Some of the members of the Dunaakial tribe stayed in Shambhala and others went off and set up tribes and caverns near the surface. Malevolent or negative beings are allowed to go in the cities. However, they live in the caverns. Some of the Dunaakial went to the surface of the earth and mixed in with surface beings. This mixture breed the tribes known today as the Dongalawi and the Danakil of Northeast Africa. There is a city within the inner earth called Rainbow City that was first discovered in 1942 AD, by a professional musician named Emery. Emery was assigned to the search of what he calls the Ancient Three, and he spent months flying over the Antarctic, looking for clues. When Emery discovered the Rainbow City, he sent a message to a couple named Mr. and Mrs. William Hefferlin of San Francisco, now believed to be living in Rainbow City with 2,000 other people. The Hefferlins wanted to learn more about the Ancient Three, and little by little in their psychic conversations with Emery, they heard the story of the Three and the concealed history of the human race. Countless millions of years ago, Emery told them humanity ruled an empire of planets stretching over 100 galaxies. At some point in their conquests, the ancient humans encountered the race which was to become their deadly enemy. The snake people and the ancients battled for 1,000 years, with the advantage passing first to one side, then to the other. However, it became clear that the snake people had won. They chased the human race from planet to planet, scattering the remnants of the human empire to a few lonely worlds. One of them was the planet Lamu, Mars, known as the Red Planet. For hundreds of generations the planet Lamu served as a hospitable home of the ancients. However, as time passed, the ancients realized Mars was dying. Its oxygen and water were slowly evaporating into space. The great ruler of Mars sent a fleet of spaceships to Earth to investigate its potential as a new home. The scouting party returned full of praise for the planet Earth, especially the subtropical Antarctic continent. So the great ruler told several thousand of his subjects they were to leave and prepare the way on the new world. They settled in Antarctica and built 7 great cities there, modeled after the cities in Mars. Each had a distinctive color and was called the Green City or the Blue City or the Red City. The greatest of all was Rainbow City. It was called this because it was constructed entirely of plastic and of all colors of the rainbow. Rainbow City sat deserted for 1,000,000 years. It alone of the 7 cities was free of ice, for hot springs beneath the city kept it and the surrounding valley at room temperature. Encircled by walls of ice then, 1,000 feet high, Rainbow City has remained hidden from Antarctic explorers to this day, except for Emery and his band. They occupied the city and found it consisted of 6 levels, 1 on the surface and 5 beneath it. Since the technology of the ancients was infinitely superior to that of surface dwellers, the city was found with all its incredible machinery running as well as it had when the city was built 2.5 million years ago. Many people don't know it, however, plastic is a relatively new product to humans. Plastic was introduced to no more than 50 years ago. So ask yourself, how did they get plastic to build this city? It is one of the many things that was given to you by extraterrestrial beings. According to author Robert Dickoff, a race of outer space invaders built the tunnels long before the Great Noahic Deluge. They were Martians, he says, Martians who carnied to Earth and colonized it many thousands of years ago. They were warlike and built the tunnels as a great defensive system in case of atomic or interplanetary war. Rainbow City, says Dickoff, was one of 7 magnificent cities built by the outer space invaders. All the cities were encased in miles of ice. When the Earth tilted and the flood came, all the cities, that is except one, Rainbow City, were near the opening, the great door leading into the interior of the Earth. Warmth from the interior kept Rainbow City from freezing over. The Rainbow City people still use this city as a spaceship base. The story of Rainbow City and they having to flee their planet and find salvation on other planets is not a new one. It is the story of the beings called the Rizki and also known as the Anunnaki, Elohim, having to leave their planet and take refuge on Mars, in the Milky Way on Khmer, in Arcturus on Kyletum, in Pleiades on Hamden, and in Orion on Moonjal. This is where they got their story from. The Anunnaki are a supreme race of beings whose name is Dinir in the cuneiform language. They are dark greenish-brown skinned beings, like olives, with supreme 9 ether hair texture, or what you'd call kinky or kingly hair. They look like humans with a few exceptions, such as their eyes. Some of the Anunnaki's eyes are exceptionally larger than that of humans. They are of such an advanced state that if you confronted one of them with a weapon they would let you shoot them rather than hurt you. These are the beings that inhabit the planet craft Nibiru. Nibiru houses smaller city-sized crafts, one of which is known in your scriptures as the Crystal City. Passenger ships, the shams that are released from the Crystal City, will reach Earth to retrieve worthy souls. The kind of people that won't make it are liars, cheats, thieves, etc. All of you want to get on the ship, but look at the way you treat each other. You also want to live in the image of the beast. So what is that telling the gods or Elohim whose image and likeness you were created after, who are olive tone in color and have 9 ether hair? You hate the way they look. As long as you are the type of person to harbor animosity and are always trying to get back at someone, you will never make it on the ship. All of the things that you learn here, you will be questioned on to board the craft. You will stand in front of a council and they will ask you questions. If you cannot answer them, you will fall to the wayside. They don't rule with emotion like you do, so they won't have pity. You will return to Earth to teach, so you must have the knowledge. They will be taken up for 1,000 years. They will be picked up by the shams and then taken to the Crystal City where they will be groomed, then return to save this planet. That is, if they are not blocked, because there are people that are going to try and stop them from coming here. This is what different religions call the rapture. In 1970 AD we started coming into the sun cycle. You called it New Age or the Age of Aquarius. Nubians' history must renew itself every 24,000 years, which consists of 4 cycles, 2 sun cycles and 2 moon cycles. These cycles are divided into 6,000 years, which equals 24,000 years, or what is known as an equinox. Your Earth was thrown out of sync in the year 1943 AD with the invention of a time machine in the Philadelphia experiment. This is the awakening period for this cycle. Scientists who were involved in the experiment opened something that is called the vortex. What most people don't realize is that there is more to the Nazi Germans than what is told. The Nazis were not just a bunch of warmongers. Most people don't know it. However, the Germans under Adolf Hitler were one of the first nations to reach the inner Earth. Hitler assembled a team of elite and intelligent scientists and engineers who were experts in many fields, including aerodynamics. There were 12 weapons that Hitler's scientists were creating. Flying discs, combat tank formed from one solid piece, sound waves, which would destroy the mind, advanced laser beams, flaming artificial cloud, super robot bomb, electrical charged cloud, a sensational shell to pierce armor, electromagnetic KM-2 rockets, paralyzing ray gun, electronic lightning ball, and the flying bottle tube. The Reich's main weapon was the flying saucer, which was capable of going speeds beyond 2,000 miles per hour. The construction of flying discs started as far back as the 1930s. By the end of World War II, the Germans had built and flown 3 prototype saucers, based on designs made by the German engineer Victor Schauberger. Germans made crafts that could go around the Earth and to Mars on a truckload of gasoline. In the 1960s, the first family of German crafts that were produced were the Vril interceptive fighters. Vril is also the name of a secret society, which was 30 feet in diameter. They were constructing and flying crafts out of their South Pole base. The Vril interceptive fighters were capable of flying outside the Earth's atmosphere. The next generation of crafts were longer and were called Anabu. They were 75 feet in diameter. At the bottom of these crafts were tank guns mounted on the crafts and weighed 100 tons. The crafts were running off free energy, meaning they don't have to land and refuel. The Germans were using magnetic lasers, using free energy crafts and free ammunition weapons, by converting gravitational energy from the magnetic field of the planet. As time went on, the crafts became more and more advanced. The Anabu 3 was made for naval warfare. Anabu 3 was 220 feet in diameter. This is the craft that the Germans took to Mars and landed in the middle of January 1946 AD, after 8 months of heavy orbiting. All of these experiments, inventions and advances in technology have been going on for decades now. What is even more ridiculous is that you have been taught in school that going to the moon, Mars and other planets is something new, when all along this has been going on around you. It is just a matter of you doing your homework. Because now, as I begin to disclose more facts that have never before been given to the public, you will have to take it upon yourself to conduct your own investigation. My job is to present the facts. Once people found out that the Nazis did know about the center of the Earth, and that they had bases set up in Antarctica, people went on expeditions to try and find the bases. The meetings of Hitler and the Thule Society led to the Third Reich, whose power still rule the world today. Hitler was influenced by beings originally from Aldebaran and are now in Orion called the Ashtar Command. These entities are very human looking, and say they are here to help save the planet Earth. Their leader is called Ashtar Sharon Isur. These blonde-haired blue-eyed beings came to Earth and are still here on the planet Earth. Originally this Nordic type are also in Pleiades, but have been known to wear insignias from Arcturus and Venus. You may see an insignia and it may confuse you, because some of these beings are sharing planets, since they were cast out of Yaa-Nun, that which encompasses Pleiades. For example, you can be a Nigerian and you may fight in a war or pledge allegiance to another country and wear their symbol. There in Antarctica, Hitler was introduced to a cavern in the Earth. It was not Shambhala, it was inside a tunnel, where he encountered beings from Aldebaran, humanoids, Pleiades, humanoids, Andromeda, grasshopper-like, predator-looking beings, Dracos, reptilians, and other beings from the sixth star or sixth sun constellation of Orion, where there were disagreeable beings. They were responsible for the translations of the Bible that added Orion, Pleiades, Arcturus to it, as found in Job 9-9, Job 38:31 and Amos 5:8. These are the same beings responsible for the mistranslations of the Bible and the whole God and the devil concept. This went into the Quran of the Mohammedans and Sufi or Mutazawites and the Kabbalah of the Jews. Accordingly, these same caverns that these beings dwell in, were found by Admiral Richard E. Byrd. In 1947 AD, Admiral R. E. Byrd and his associates flew 1,700 miles beyond the South Pole base, when they saw a valley not covered in ice and snow.